Yeah, so we're going to move on to the next moon. All right. Check this out. Okay, so that's all the moons of Jupiter I want to talk about. I do want to talk about one moon of Saturn, and that's this one right here. This particular moon of Saturn is called Titan. You can see it written right above it, way up there, Titan. This moon looks nothing like our moon. Can you tell what we're seeing here? Why does this moon look so strange? What is going on in this picture? Yeah. This is an atmosphere. This is the only moon in our solar system with a atmosphere, a thick atmosphere like this. And it's actually made of it's actually somewhat similar to Earth's atmosphere because this is almost entirely nitrogen here. So you can't see the surface of Titan. It does have a solid surface under this, like all the other moons, but you can't see it from space because of this thick atmosphere. Let's try to figure out why it's got this thick atmosphere. There's a pretty simple reason for it. This moon has the same gravity as our moon, give or take. It's around the same ballpark. So that means it's no better at holding gas down. But remember, surface temperature was also important when it comes to atmospheres, right? So, what is it about the surface temperature on this moon that makes it way easier for it to have an atmosphere? Oh, somebody actually already got it. That's good. It's way colder than our moon. Remember we talked about the gas jiggling around, and the hotter the gas gets, the harder it is to hold on to that gas? Well, because it's so cold out next to Saturn, even the weak gravity of this moon is able to hold on to that slow-moving cold gas, okay? So that's why there's an atmosphere here. But we have dropped a probe onto this moon, and it fell through the atmosphere and fell down and landed on the surface, and it took pictures all the way down, and it took a bunch of pictures from the surface. In fact, if you look in this chapter in your book, in Chapter 8, they actually included, at the very end of the chapter, I think, a video that probe took on the way down. So you can actually watch its full descent all the way to the surface. And I'm going to show you what some of those pictures look like in a second. Okay? Now, check this out. Here we go. As it fell, once the atmosphere got out of the way, it was able to see some pictures that look like this. So this is kind of falling farther and farther and farther down. And if we look over here, this is a picture from the surface of Titan. And again, it doesn't look that crazy other than it being really... I could have... If you told me this was a picture of Earth in a dust storm, I would believe you. But it's not. It's Titan, okay? Now, more importantly, as it fell, it saw this. And we have several pictures kind of like this. There's this dark reflective patch, and then these branching things over here that are also very reflective. Can you figure out what this is right here? What's this wiggly reflective thing that branches? What's this thing? Ooh. That is a river, okay? And not only is it a river, because we saw dead rivers on Mars, dried up rivers. This river's not dried up. This is actual flowing material. This is the only place in the solar system where we found flowing rivers, okay? And if that's a river and it just abruptly ends right here, what could this big patch right here be? What's this? What are we looking at right here? Yeah, it's a large body of liquid, right? Some of you guys are saying ocean. They don't seem to be big enough. There's no scale here, so it's kind of hard to tell how... Or the scale's kind of... Well, I'm cutting it off. This is probably not quite big enough to call an ocean. You might call it a sea or a large lake, right? Probably a large lake. But yeah, and this is something you could swim in it. So you could go to Titan and swim in it. And we found rain. We saw rain happening. So this is the only place where we have caught like actual photographs of rain falling as well. So there's definitely precipitation. However, would you want to go take a big gulp of this? No. Why would you not want to come take a big gulp of this lake? There's a very simple reason that you wouldn't want to drink it. Can you figure out why you would not want to drink it? It is not water. It's not water. Why can't it be water? Let me put it this way. This cannot be water for a very simple reason. Too cold. That's correct. In fact, I actually already showed you water on the surface of Titan without telling you. It's so cold here that these things that you probably thought were rocks, all of this is dirty ice. The surface of Europa is made of dirty ice. And these rocks, they're not actually rocks. They're actually just big chunks of ice. So it's a cold place there. And some of you guys saw the caption on the next page telling you what that lake and river actually were made out of. But if it's so cold here that all of the water is solid, then that means the stuff that's liquid here must be something that's typically in the form of a gas elsewhere. And so essentially what these lakes and rivers are made out of is mostly methane. It's mostly methane, okay? Let me go to the next slide. There we go. So that's methane that we're looking at. Now, if I locked you in a room and told you to pass this class, you got to get me some methane, but you can't come out of this room at all. You got like a whole day. You could still pass that class, because where would you be able to find methane very easily without even leaving the room? How could you get some methane for me? Yeah. From yourself. From your farts. Farts are mostly methane, okay? So that means it's so cold here on Titan that these rivers and lakes and rain is made out of the same stuff that your farts are made out of, okay? So this is liquid farts here. Yay! This makes me happy. I enjoy this fact. Yeah. So what color are? Don't overthink this. What color are farts? What color are farts? What color are your farts? This is a weird question, but we're gonna answer it. Clear. Yes, your farts are invisible, right? I actually, one time I asked one of my classes that, and they told me like green and brown, and I'm like, what? Something not working. If you have an actual green cloud coming out of you when you fart, then something is seriously wrong. Probably go to the hospital for that. They should not have a color to them. But this is like the reason they've colored this bright blue here, this almost neon blue on the edges, is that it turns out methane is actually blue. The reason you can't see your farts is that your farts are very, 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 very thin. But if you could filter your farts, just filter the methane out of your farts and just like fart in a fart jar over and over and over and over and over again, like millions of times, or maybe you got all your friends to fart in your fart jar, Filter it, please. Don't. We do want just the methane. Filter those farts. Eventually, what color would that jar light up? Yeah, sorry, we're talking about farts now. This is now a fart lecture. Blue. Yeah. If you farted enough, if you gathered enough methane gas together, it would have a bright, almost neon blue color to it. So farts are actually really pretty if you get enough of them together. Just, you know. Okay, sorry about my cat. Okay, she's coming down. All right. Now, here we go. Sit. I'm talking about farts, okay? All right. Okay, so that's actually all I had to say about these moons. Remember, there are a lot of moons of Jupiter and Saturn, and Uranus and Neptune, but I just don't have time to talk about all of them. So we're going to switch gears now and talk about the last two planets. Yeah, there's just moons and moons and moons and moons and moons and moons. I did want to point out this particular moon right here. This moon of Saturn. I like this moon because this big crater right here makes it look a lot like the Death Star. I like this one right here. That's Mimas, if you want to look it up sometime. Okay, so finally my cat's leaving me alone. All right, let's talk about, yes, it looks a lot like the